Thanks very much, Rob. I'd like to open by acknowledging that we're having our forum today on the lands of the Boon Wurrung and the Woiwurrung Wurundjeri peoples of the Kulin Nation, and I wish to acknowledge them as traditional owners. I'd also like to pay my respects to elders past and present and Aboriginal elders of other communities that are with us here today. Welcome. I'm delighted to be here. I must say I tried to put the spirit of this forum in practice this morning. So I was sitting in my office at 50 Lonsdale Street and I thought, how do I come here? Choice tram, walk. Guess what I chose? Walk. I thought I'll fulfil the spirit of today. So congratulations at the outset to Musculoskeletal Australia, Rob Anton as CEO and Jen Nolan for the great work they do in leading the partnership. I'd like to acknowledge that Musculoskeletal Australia has such an important role in providing evidence-based research, education, advocacy and support services, and clearly aiming to improve the quality of life for older people. And that's a key bond with all of us here today, isn't it? Trying to get the best possible outcome from the journey of ageing. And if we're all lucky enough, that'll be something we can aspire to. All of those of you that haven't yet got to the stage of getting the seniors card at age 60, don't worry. If you're lucky, your time will come. Something to aspire for. Today's forum is very timely in terms of its theme around communication, older people and physical activity. It's very important. I spend a lot of my time out listening and talking with older people, and some of you may have heard me mention before that in my key piece of work around isolation and loneliness of older people back in 2016. One of the compelling pieces of information that I got, and it informs a lot of my work, is that there's a significant disconnect between what older people understand is available in their local community and what is actually available. And I'll just share with you some more thoughts on that, piece of work I'm doing at the moment. So, the Victorian Department, the branch of Seniors Ageing and Aged Care branch, is working on the development of a framework for what is ageing well. And so a key part of my role as a commissioner is to bring the voices of older people into those considerations. And I'm going through a structured process. I'm having forums, targeted forums, in 4 locations across Victoria. And with the great partnership of the MAV and local government, I'm having older people from 28 different local government areas across Victoria to inform my thinking and my deliberations and ultimately the advice I provide to government. I've already had 2 of those forums, and I'd like to share with you a couple of the findings that are very clear to me already that are relevant to the issue for communication. And the first is a compelling feeling of older people that as they age, as they go through that journey of ageing, they start to become invisible to our community, and a real desire and passion that the community better understands and respects and values the contribution of older people. And quotes like, recognising we have something to offer, to be valued, that we can contribute. The community in general having a positive view of older people. And there are so many stories about people's individual experience of ageism at play. And there was one lady that shared a lovely story that when she goes into a shop now, she has her $50 note available and she waves her $50 note to become uninvisible. So I'm not sure if uninvisible is a word, but it was a good one in the context of that story. But I share that in seriousness, that I think as we consider communication, do it in the context of groups of older people that see a deficit and a difference between their belief of what they have to offer our community and what our community respects and values in that regard. The second is, and continuing that theme that I just mentioned, that significant gap with the information that's available, how information is provided to them. And not surprisingly, as people get to the stage of wanting access to services, and I'm not sure if anybody here, and you may well have, tried to assist somebody, for example, access aged care services, and find the challenge of trying to be steered into what's really a technology-based entry system. And so that whole issue about how and when communication is available, and I thought one of the wonderful comments was information needs to be slowed down. And I think that really has a story for older people. They do actually, one of the great positive things about being older, they often have a bit more time. And so in our fast communication-based world, the fact that information has slowed down, the importance of repetition. Don't assume that with one communication all people understand what's available in their community. And of course you won't be surprised that the most important baseline comment consistently is the importance of health to their well-being, the importance of health to being involved in their community, the importance of health to their ability to participate socially. But what are the other subtle messages, and I think an important one to bear in mind, that lots of older people just don't want to be with older people. The aspiration across generations, the opportunity as they age, and if you look through the lens of people that are moving through the latter part of their seniors years, often their world has changed quite significantly. They may well have outlived their partner. They may have their family moved to other places in our global world. And so we can't assume that people have knowledge and information from families that's available to them. And so being active and belonging is a central part of it, and the activities and the focus, not just with older people. But today I'm going to ask you for a little bit of help. And what I'm going to bring up here is a second piece of work that I'm doing. So in addition to the great work that MAV is assisting me with consultation directly face-to-face with older people, so I get a good quality of understanding of what's well-being from an older person's perspective, we're also doing an online survey. And we're doing a survey that we pulled together based on some validated tools to get an understanding of what the individual person feels about well-being. So in the collective sense, in the conversations, I build a real conversational understanding of well-being. But this to supplement it with very much an individual point of view. And my request to you is that I acknowledge lots of older people have limited technology skills. A lot do, a lot embrace, and with the right learning and opportunity, there's certainly a significant way that many older people do embrace technology. But I'd ask each of you, as part of your homework from today, to find one older person in your life who would be able to fill in the survey with a bit of assistance from you. And it's pretty straightforward. You just go to Seniors Online, and when you go to Seniors Online, you just scroll down a little bit and you'll find a Click Here tab that takes you directly to the survey. And then they just step through that and fill that in. And so if you could, as part of your contribution to my own work and understanding of older people, help them and guide them through what is involved in completing that survey. And then in time, what I'll do is make sure that I publish my report, which will be prepared sometime early next year on HARNet, and also through my Facebook page. So for those of you that use Facebook, I'll bring up on here the fact that I do have a Facebook page and provide a lot of practical information to older people that are involved in technology about the range of opportunities that are available. And there's really two sides to the technology question from my point of view. There's never making assumptions that older people can't learn. And I can remember in one of my conversations, two Turkish ladies aged in their 80s who got up and shared the story that they couldn't communicate with their grandchildren that were living back now in Turkey. But it was through other grandchildren that showed them how to use Facebook and how to use Skype, that on a day-to-day basis they could actually communicate. And they were in their early 80s and they wanted to showcase that to other people in the room. And yet so often I hear the other side of the equation, that older people feel that an over-reliance of technology as a strategy locks them out of critical information and communication. And so today you've got a great program. You've got a great opportunity to reflect as professionals. Professor Bill Bellows come down from Sydney and talk to you about good communication and promotion of physical activity. So thank you for coming down, Bill. Dr. Darshani Aitum will ask you to think about what you say and how this might be heard by your audience, based on learnings from several studies considering messages about falls prevention. Importantly, we're going to focus on the voice of older people, and Margaret O'Loughlin will provide her perspective on what is meant by good communication with older people. And then you've got the structure of the concurrent sessions that allows you to pick the areas of interest that you have. And so I think on a day like today, a forum like today, it's an opportunity to stop in our busy world, to do as that person shared with me, to slow down communication, to reflect and think, and consider your work, your organisation, how you involve older people at two levels. How you involve them as active designers, co-designers of what you do, and how you work with them as target audiences to deliver great programs and great services for older people. And on their behalf, I thank each of you what's very clear to me after 2 of my sessions is that active ageing, healthy ageing is such a fundamental part for older people to do what they want, which is to remain very active citizens in our community. Thank you.